Hey everyone, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina, I am your host. Super excited to be here with you this evening to go over differences between the UPPAbaby Vista V3 versus the brand new Peg Perego YPSI 2025. So these are both options that are single strollers that can turn into double or possibly even triple strollers if you're crazy. And we're gonna go over those differences. Now, if you haven't yet, go ahead, like, follow, subscribe. The other thing that I would encourage you to do, if you like this channel and you want to support this channel, the greatest way to show your support is to go to my website directly, destinationbabykids.com, and to make a purchase directly from my website. If you're learning from this station and you feel like it's helpful for you and that you've picked up a lot of different interesting things, then the best way to show your support, again, head over to destinationbabykids.com. You can buy either the YPSI 2025 or the UPPAbaby Vista version 3 directly off my website, destinationbabykids.com. We're a real store here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. We can ship to you for free if you're in the continental United States. So think about us, consider us to make a purchase. And when you go to the website, you can see all kinds of cool stuff, colors, different products, all kinds of things. So destinationbabykids.com. Okay, let's launch into the differences between the Vista V3 and the Peg Perego YPSI 2025. Okay, gang, a lot to go over here. We're going to go through as fast as we can. I do have my spec sheet to help talk about the similarities and the differences between these fabulous products. So let's launch right in. If you're curious, the stroller that's in the all black that you see over here on my left, your right as the viewer, that is going to be the Peg Perego YPSI 2025. This is a stroller that is really special. It's a single that can turn into a double, super lightweight, super agile, super maneuverable, and totally extraordinary because it is not made in China. It is made in Italy. It's one of the only products left in this entire arena that's not made in China. This is made in Milan, okay? So then over here, we're gonna have the UPPAbaby Vista V3. This stroller is made in China. That's okay, but it's kind of special for Peg that they're made in Italy, so we always call that out. UPPAbaby Vista V3 is gonna be a single stroller that can turn into a two-kid stroller, sort of set the stage for all the other ones. Most people are copying what they're doing, which is great. They are an industry leader, and these guys, they're going to have so many similarities, and we're going to run through each one of those for you right now. Now, big difference is going to be pricing. So the price for the YPSI 2025 is $799. The price for the UPPAbaby Vista V3 is $999. So you're looking at $1,000 versus $800. So about a $200 price difference there. The warranty for the UPPAbaby Vista, even though it's more expensive, is going to be a shorter warranty. Warranty is going to be 3 years on the Vista. Now, it's really exciting, Peg Perego YPSI, if this is purchased through a brick and mortar store or a brick and mortar website, so basically not on Amazon or a big box site, you're going to get a 5-year warranty. If you were to buy it on Amazon, you're going to get a 2-year warranty. So buy it from me, destinationbabykids.com, and you will get that 5-year warranty for your made in Italy stroller. So again, $800, 5-year warranty, made in Italy, $1,000 made in China, 3-year warranty. Okay? Now, let's talk about the size of the seats. So the backrest on your YPSI is going to be 18.5 inches. On your UPPAbaby Vista V3, your backrest is 21 inches. So you do get a bit longer of a backrest. One thing that's great about both of these strollers is that they're going to have a canopy which can raise up to give kiddo more canopy clearance. So our canopy clearance on our Vista V3 is going to be 24 inches, and our canopy clearance on our YPSI is going to be 23 inches. So only an inch less of canopy clearance. So these are both going to hold big, long-bodied children for quite a nice amount of time, which is great. Each seat here holds 50 pounds. So you can start as little in these seats out of the box at 6 months and go all the way through to 50 pounds. Now, even though UPPAbaby has a slightly taller backrest and a little bit more canopy clearance, the YPSI seat is wider. So your width on your seat here is 12 inches. Your width on your Vista is 11 inches. Another area where YPSI is going to be a little bit larger, which is deceptive versus the Vista, is the depth of the seat. So the depth on your YPSI is 10 inches deep. Your depth on your Vista is 9 inches. Your crotch belt depth on your YPSI is 5 inches, whereas your crotch belt depth on your Vista is going to be 4.5. So your leg extension, which is this little piece that drops down. Your leg extension on your YPSI is 11.5 inches, whereas your leg extension on your Vista is 11 inches. The next thing is knee drop. So that is going to be when the knee drops down, this spot here, or this bottom portion, those measurements are going to be 11.5 and then 17 inches for YPSI. On Vista, you are at the 11 inches, 15 inches, or 18 inches. So you have an additional spot here, but in general, it is very, very comparable between those two models for the knee drop. The harness buckle. The harness buckle on both of these products is now magnetic. So Peg Perego has a magnetic harness. You also have a magnetic harness on your UPPAbaby. So they function very, very similarly, super easy to take kiddo in and out of the seats. Now, our handle heights. Our YPSI will start at 39 inches at its shortest height, and then it stops at, I believe, 4 different spots, so 39, 40, 41, and 42. For Vista, we have, I think, 3 heights. So we have 39.5. I think that one's going to be 41, and then you have 43. Oh wait, there's a 4th spot in there. So this is 4, the other guy's 4. So they both have 4 different spots. Basically, your Vista starts at 39.5, goes up to 43. Your YPSI starts at 39 and goes up to 42. Now our basket capacity. This is a big difference between these two products. Your basket capacity on your YPSI is going to be, I believe it's either 15 pounds or 20 pounds. Let's say 15 just to be on the safe side. Your basket capacity for your UPPAbaby is going to be 30 pounds. So it will hold double the weight. Now that being said, there are some people that would argue that the type of basket that you get with YPSI is maybe more usable because it's like more flat bottomed versus being like Vista, which is a little bit more floppy. So again, totally your call, but your basket dimension on Vista is 15 by 30, whereas on YPSI it's 13 by 29. You'll see your openings on these products are going to be a little bit different as well. I need a tape measure right here to get the one for YPSI. But I know for Vista, your back opening is going to be 12 inches, and then your front opening can be as large as 14. That is shockingly generous. If you were going to put a big thing in the basket, it's nice that you have this option to get that open. Our YPSI front opening here is going to be 11 inches, and then our rear opening is going to be, and I always take it between the two narrowest spots, 7 inches. So it is a smaller basket, holds less weight, and it does have a narrower opening on the front and the back. However, I would argue it's not prohibitive in any way. Both have really nice, big, generous baskets, which is great. And both have articulating foot plates with 2-button pinch. So it's not like one is a squeeze hand, single squeeze hand, and the other is 2 buttons. They're both similar that way. The same thing can be said here. If you want to lock your front tires with either of these strollers, they're both going to have very simple ability to do that. So now if you wanted to walk through gravel, grass, rough terrain, you have your front tires locked, and then you'll go ahead and be able to unlock either of them super easily. Again, that's a nice feature to take these multi-terrain. Now our tire sizes are slightly different. Our Vista rear tire is going to be 11 inches. Our YPSI 2025 tire in the rear is 10 inches. Our front tire on YPSI is 7 inches. Our front tire on Vista is 8 inches. So Vista's tires are a little bit bigger. The stroller itself is wider as well. Overall, Vista width, you're looking at 25.7 inches wide. Our YPSI is very narrow. It's 23.25 inches wide. It's going to be the lightest weight, narrowest single to double on the market. So it's only about 25 pounds when it's folded up, whereas our Vista is 28.5 pounds when it's folded up. And that's just with 1 seat. That's not with 2 seats. So it's definitely lighter weight to go with YPSI. But again, Vista has a bigger tire. It's overall wider. So it's not surprising to me that there's more weight when you're folding the product and using it that way. Now, neither one of these strollers are suitable for newborns out of the box. You mean, what are you talking about? Well, if you wanted to use either one of these strollers with a newborn, you would have to either buy a pillow insert that would go into the seats, or you could use the bassinets. I have the bassinets behind me to show the viewing audience how that works. Or you could use a car seat. So let's start out first with the car seat, because that's probably the most typical thing that people are doing. Both brands make their own infant car seats. And the cool thing is, if you stick with brand on brand with either of these guys, you're gonna have what's referred to as a direct connection, where the car seat clicks directly onto the stroller frame without using some type of goofy adapter or like big ring piece like you have to do with Nuna. Here on either one of these guys, you stay brand with brand. Doing a Peg Perego car seat here. This is a direct connection onto the frame as well. Now, the thing with YPSI that's so cool is that they're always a one-handed removal to take this off the stroller frame. So I'm just able to lift up these little wings on either side and lift the seat directly up, take it off, turn it around. Now, there's a different UPPAbaby car seat that would also be one-handed. This one's not, but it's just a cool feature that both strollers have this option to face the kiddo either direction. Very, very nice feature. This car seat is called the Aria version 3. This is $450. This guy over here is called the Peg Perego Nido Lounge. Price point is $439. The Peg Perego car seat is made in Italy. The UPPAbaby car seat's made in China. Peg Perego car seat has a 5-year warranty. The UPPAbaby car seat has a 7-year warranty. So that is a little weird, right? You get a longer warranty on their car seat than you do on their stroller. Well, which do you think you're gonna be using longer, the car seat or the stroller? Probably the stroller. So I think that 5-year warranty on the stroller frame, very, very helpful. So that's one way that you could have your newborn directly on the stroller. Now, maybe you don't want them in the car seat because that holds their body in a V shape. You could also do a bassinet. These will go onto the stroller frame, and then the great thing is you can take a stand and put the stand next to your bed. And these bassinets are what are referred to as overnight sleep certified, which means that we can put a baby in here for overnight sleeping without any problem. So the idea is like, okay, you know, we want all this ventilation open. We want this kid having more breathability. They're gonna have that. And then if we want, we have the stand. Both of these brands have stands that fold for travel or for moving around the house. But in UPPAbaby's case, the stand is sold separately. And we're gonna keep coming back to this theme with UPPAbaby over and over again, that you are just going to pay more for the honor of having UPPAbaby, okay? So what I tell parents a lot of times about that is, if you're noticing a product on your social feeds all the time, they have to pay for those ads somehow, right? So it's not surprising that products that are very heavily advertised on a variety of different mediums are just gonna be more expensive than their counterparts, which might be equally as good or have better features for cheaper. So these are the type of things that we would just want to familiarize parents with, so that when you make this decision, you feel really empowered. So here, as you can see, stand. So with the UPPAbaby, the bassinet is $279. The color shown here is called Savannah. Stand is sold separately for $199. So you're looking at $479 for this little set. Our YPSI bassinet will hook on to the stand. And the YPSI bassinet, the stand is included in the purchase price for $399. So this is made in Italy. This is $399, this is made in China, this is $479. The other thing that's very cool about the YPSI bassinet is that it's actually height adjustable for different bed levels. So if you have a low bed or a high bed, you can always adjust it to be at the correlating correct height for however high up or low your bed would be. So nice feature set there, very, very similar options. These again, sold separately, not included in the purchase price. But for UPPAbaby, you're at like a $479. For the Peg Perego, you're at $400. And again, Peg Perego made in Italy, UPPAbaby made in China. Now, we've looked at the two different ways for infants to go on there with separate purchases of like bigger, more expensive pieces. But if we wanted to do our most cost-effective way to have a new baby go directly into these stroller seats, these companies do enable you to do that. They make different types of pillows that go into these seats that will function for newborns. So with UPPAbaby, they call it the infant snug seat. Let me grab it here to show you guys. And with Peg Perego, they call it the baby stage pad. Okay? So these are both $70. And they work essentially the same way. They elevate and hoist the baby's body up in the seat so that their head cannot tilt down. When it's in a reclined mode, that dip in the butt gets lifted by the pillow that's under the liner. And that's how they make it for a newborn to be able to go directly in the stroller seat when you buy it. Now, I have this UPPAbaby one set up already because, to be totally candid, it's a nightmare to put that one on. It's good, it just takes more work. The Peg Perego, I don't mind doing on camera because it's not feeding through all of the straps. So it's a little bit easier to manage. I'm gonna put either one of these guys, the seat on in the rear facing mode. Go ahead, sit that stroller seat up. And this guy right now, let's go ahead and adjust the footrest a little bit. We'll recline this. And we're gonna do the same thing with this guy that we do with that one, but here it's just way faster and easier to demonstrate because it doesn't have to work psychotically with all the straps like the UPPAbaby style does. And again, it's whatever suits the parent as far as like using pieces like this. But with either one, you can buy the infant pillow and utilize that in your stroller system from birth versus doing an infant car seat or doing the Bassinet. Because again, Bassinet is going to be significantly more expensive, but Bassinet would have the additional benefit of being able to do bedside sleeping or having the option of putting kiddo down anywhere else that you want to go. And again, this is not a Vista seat. This is just a different seat that I grabbed to like be ready to show how that would all work together. But you would still get, with UPPAbaby, nice big canopy, always. So you have that option as well. So these are all the choices that we have to be able to utilize these guys from birth, moving through to older children. So as we pointed out before, the stroller seats that come with the strollers, those will hold up to 50 pounds. Bassinets on both models will hold 20, and then those car seats respectively hold 35 pounds for Peg Perego and 30 pounds for UPPAbaby. So just little differences there. Now, something that's similar between these seats is that both of these seats are what are referred to as all-season seats, which means that when we take off the buckle on either model, I can go ahead and take off the back rest piece and get a mesh ventilation going for a hot day. So here you can see the mesh ventilation. On UPPAbaby, we're gonna do the same thing. You pull these guys' plastic pieces out from the side. Candidly, I'm not real fond of this. I hate that type of connection. My preference is more like what Peg has with the snaps, because that feels more normal than shoving plastic onto little riveting pieces. But whatever's clever, whatever works for the consumer. So here we go, we're all back together, and both of these guys now have their all-season seat showing, so you can see for a hot day how that would work and be nice and cool for a bigger kiddo. And the nice part about this guy is that if you wanted to use just the leg pieces on this one, you could. So this can be either a 3 or a 5-point harness, whereas with UPPAbaby, it's exclusively a 5-point harness. So there's no option to turn it into a 3-point harness. Sometimes older kids don't want the shoulder straps, so with the YPSI, you could have that feature, whereas with UPPAbaby, there's no opportunity for that. Okay, really similar, right? Ventilated seat. Front bar comes on and off. You can buy a tray for either. You have that magnetic buckle on either. You have the articulating foot plate. Where do they start to get more different? Well, we talked about the size overall, right? YPSI is smaller, lighter weight, but also YPSI is going to argue, in my opinion, have a better fold than UPPAbaby in terms of that UPPAbaby is going to be a little bit bulkier. So when you fold your UPPAbaby, the handle's going to be as tall as possible. You trigger the 2 gray triggers. The stroller will stand and look like that when it's folded. With YPSI, something that's very clever is that the seat collapses on itself. With UPPAbaby, the seat is still open all the way up. So for germs, sometimes people aren't as keen on that. And then what else we can do here, you don't have to, but I will lock one wheel just to make it a little easier. I'll go ahead and pinch the center handle and fold this guy up. And now we're folded right next to each other. So I'd argue they take up the same amount of tall space, but your YPSI is going to be tighter, narrower, and lighter weight overall. Additionally, if I wanted to carry this around, I have an additional handle on the back of the stroller seat, and I can grab down here. So like maybe this feels more balanced for me than having it all be one gigantor piece. Now, as I had mentioned, one gigantic thing is a little harder than one small thing. And just to reiterate my point, sorry, my battery died, but our fold here to fold the frame is going to be single-handed, and then the unfold as well is also single-handed. So super easy to fold and unfold this guy. With Vista, it's going to be a little bit more work. So to open it, we're going to press this tab on the left-hand side, and then we're going to push the stroller forward. Grab with both hands, lift up, and now we're back seated normally, and we can kick that foot plate out. So they're both simple to fold and unfold, but I would argue that the Peg is going to be a smaller fold than what you get on Vista. Now here's where things really change between these two products. When we are ready to turn these into 2 kid systems, UPPAbaby will make you buy more stuff than Peg Perego will. So in my opinion, Peg Perego does a better job growing with your family more cost effectively. And again, it's been cheaper all the way up and through this point, so why would that change? But just to understand, this is where stuff is gonna get very, very different between these two products. So with Peg Perego, they say, hey, you already own our stroller that you bought for $800, and then you bought our car seat for $439. If you want your car seat and your stroller to work together, we'll sell you a kit for $60 that will make the stuff that you already own work together. So if you're like, well, that's how they all are, that's not true. It's going to be very different with UPPAbaby. And that's why I keep coming back to saying this over and over again. UPPAbaby will force you to buy more stuff than Peg Perego will. So Peg says, okay, you had that stroller seat. That stroller seat holds a kid all the way through 50 pounds. So take the stroller seat that you bought when you bought the stroller, right? Whew. Let's get this guy moved up. Do I have this right? I have a video about this. I should be able to get it perfectly. Oh, you know what? It's the wrong side. There we go. So we'll put our piece on. Now that's working properly. We'll hit our other side. And see, even when you're an expert, you can still fall victim to not knowing exactly what you're doing every moment of the day. But so now we have our double kit set up on the stroller to turn this into a 2-kid option. So the seat that already came with the stroller when you bought it, that is going to clip on to this front position. So we're going to take the seat that our kiddo is already used to sitting in. It smells like them. It's disgusting. It'll go right here on the front, and that'll hold all the way up to 50 pounds. Then our car seat, which we already own, that we were using before, that has that 5-year warranty, that, made in Italy, is going to go on the top position. So we are able to achieve this setup with the car seat and the stroller seat for $60. So we went from $800 for the stroller, $449 $12.40 for the car seat. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, $12.40, and then we add $60 more. So now we're at a total investment of $1,300 to get it to do what you see here. If you wanted your UPPAbaby to do this, it's going to cost a lot more. So how does that look for UPPAbaby? Well, the seat that came with the stroller, that's not the seat that clips on the front. And people have a really hard time believing me when I tell them this. But the seat that actually clips on the front for UPPAbaby is called the rumble seat. It's a physically smaller seat. And this demonstration is poor, but the rumble seat will only hold 40 pounds, whereas the Vista main seat, and you can kind of see here they're sized differently, the Vista main seat will hold 50 pounds. So when you buy the rumble seat will come with a set of what are called rumble seat adapters, okay? They only work with the rumble seat. You cannot take the seat that the stroller came with and just shove them onto these adapters and then magically it'll hold a bigger kid and 50 pounds. It does not work that way. The rumble seat is physically smaller overall. It's not as deep. The canopy clearance isn't as high. So we're asking our big 2 or 3-year-old that was sitting in that big seat to now move into a smaller seat that will clip on the front. So you're asking, okay, well, what am I doing with my green seat in the meantime? Yeah, I don't know. Storing it? UPPAbaby doesn't care. This is kind of my gripe with this product. I don't want to store crap that, like, I don't understand why this can't just clip on the front, right? Because now I have to store it when I'm not using it, which is definitely annoying. So now I've got my rumble seat on here. I would buy a set of what are referred to as upper adapters for $40, and those will clip on the top to give kiddo more space. And now we'll take our car seat and throw it directly onto the stroller frame, just like we have with the YPSI. So, in order to do this setup for UPPAbaby, our cost was more expensive. I already did the math. The cost for the Vista, 1 kid plus 1 car seat, you're looking at $1,790 versus $1,300. So you're at almost $500 additional dollars in order to have the ability to tell people that you're pushing an UPPAbaby and that your front seat only holds 40 pounds instead of 50 pounds and that your front seat is physically smaller than the front seat that it came with. Okay, so yeah, you're paying more for all of those things to be less, and also a 3-year warranty made in China, 5-year warranty made in Italy. So these are the things that we would just want consumers to be aware of. Neither one of these work with a bassinet sitting on the top and then your front seat on the bottom. You may be able to turn the front seat backward facing, but they are still extremely tight and it is not recommended from either brand. Now you can have your big kid seat facing parents and then your bassinet low on either one of these options. Looks ridiculous, but if you want to do that, you certainly could. By that same measure, if you wanted to, you could put a car seat on the bottom, parent facing, and a big kid on the top, also parent facing, but very few people set these products up in that type of way, but they will do it, just in case you're curious. So again, when we turn these into 2 big kids, that's something I want to show as well. If you were to buy a big kid seat here, now the thing about UPPAbaby is that when you want to turn it into a 2-kid system, if you have that rumble seat, then boom, you're just ready to go. So now your 2-kid system is that same price that we discussed before. Your 2 big kids would be $1,479. Whereas 2 big kids here, it would be $800 for the stroller, $60 for the double kit, and then you would buy a second big seat like this black seat that you see here. I'm going to show you one in a different color just so we understand it is a fully separate purchase. Normally people buy these in the same color, but so now we have 2 big kid seats on the YPSI, and that price would be the stroller plus the big kid seat. So the stroller's $800, big kid seat is $300, 8, 9, 10, 11, $1,160 with your adapter, versus on the other guy, you're at the 1,300 for 1,000 and then 300 for the second seat. So they're closer in price this way when you're doing the two big kid seats versus the big kid seat and the car seat, but it is just something to be aware of. And like, why would I point this out or care about this? If your kids are 4 years apart, they're not gonna sit on the stroller frame like what you see. You would be more likely to have, like, the statistic is 66% of people that have a second child will have them usually 3 years apart. So if you have a newborn and a 3-year-old, I can understand doing a car seat on here and maybe having a 3-year-old in the front seat. But by the time the infant outgrows the infant seat and that 4-year-old is there and the infant is now 1, I don't think you're gonna be using the stroller set up with 2 seats. So this is, again, where with UPPAbaby, this is annoying to me because I'm stuck with a second seat, whether or not I'm going to use it. Whereas with Peg Perego, I have this option to, instead of buying the second seat, I could reinvest that money in a skateboard. So both of these guys have an option to be a 3-kid stroller system. I'm gonna stop the camera, turn it back on, and show you guys that as well, in case you were curious and wanted to set them up for 3. Okay, almost done. But as you guys can see, I've got the riding board set up on both of these guys. So I would argue these riding boards work better with like older children that are like 4 or 5 plus versus 2 kids sitting on and then rider boards. So they're gonna claim that these can each be 3 kid systems. I would argue that's like, I guess. Here with UPPAbaby, I would argue they have a little bit more headspace than what you get with Peg Perego. However, Peg Perego has this opportunity where when you do the rider board, you can actually remove the handle, and then they give you handlebar extensions, which can give you more space when you're walking with that rider board on the back of the stroller. And I think these rider boards hold 45 or 50 pounds a piece. I'll double check and leave it in the comments. But here you see we've got that extension, so now we've got a little bit more space for these rider boards. So again, both of these strollers have this option to do that. You can kick this one up. It does theoretically fold on there. They're both gonna fold as singles with rider board stuff on it. I will set these back up as singles in the rider board mode just so you guys can see with like the rider board and the car seat. And then I'll fold them as doubles without the rider boards on it with the 2 big kid seats, and then we'll be done. So nearly finished. Okay guys, so as you can see, we've got these rider boards set up with the car seats on here. They're both looking good, but I do think this is where that handlebar extension is useful, because if we wanted a little more space here, as we raise that, we're gonna get that. On our Vista, we are at our most raised position. So if we lower that down to its shortest, and we have shortest here, my shortest here still has room for a kiddo. Here, kiddo's gonna be standing on the outside, and then like it's a little awkward from where I am. This one, I've just got more foot space clearance for a longer gait to be able to utilize rider board. Now, something else I get asked about all the time is rider board with bassinets. So let's take a look at that as well. This would be if you wanted to use your bassinet on either of these products instead of the car seat with the rider board. We'll just see how that looks and if that'll work. Because quite frankly, I don't know. I'm sure they say it does, but let's see how it actually looks. So bassinet on Vista, clipped on. We again would want this handlebar set to its tallest. There's a little space on Vista, but not a ton. So they'd be hanging on here, but it would be a pretty tight fit. Our bassinet on our YPSI, and those will all maneuver better when there's weight of a kiddo standing on those rider boards. I know that sounds stupid, but it's true. So here, this kiddo is gonna have more head space for sure. And when we set even this to shortest, they just have more space all around. And if I move this back, I have less likelihood of actually kicking that piece versus Vista being at its tallest right now. I'm gonna bring the camera over and show you guys, and then like I said, I'm gonna do a quick fold of both of them and we'll be done with this one. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm saying here. Where when we've got this one, the space for them to stand is pretty monumental. Whereas here, when this rider board is attached to the frame, there's not a lot of room between the body and the foot. And you see with the handle extending on the other guy just how much more additional space we'd have if we went with Peg Perego versus the UPPAbaby. So now we'll fold them. All right, guys, we made it to the end of the video. We're gonna fold them up as doubles and then we're gonna be done with this. So how will that look? Well, one thing that is very cool about UPPAbaby is that you can fold it with both seats on it. People will argue all day long that you can't do this. They're wrong, you can. It's horrible, but it is achievable. It'll look like that, okay? Do you think you're gonna put that in your car like that? I don't think so, but we'll get into that in a second. If you wanted to fold your YPSI, I would tell you to fold your seats up first, just so that it's done. Very easy to do. And then you can remove each seat. And then each seat has the little handle on the back. So we're able to have our seats completely folded and like neat together. And then we can take our stroller frame and fold that up relatively simply too. Now, if we want this to be even more compact, we can remove these top guys and throw them in the basket. And then for putting it in the car, it would look basically like this, with your two seats stacked and packed on top of it. Whereas with UPPAbaby, I think taking off your bottom seat first is probably smart, then your top seat. Go ahead and throw this in the trunk. And then each seat, maybe, can we take these off to make it smaller? That helps. You can take one seat this way, and then our second seat, maybe there, and fold it up like that. So definitely bigger, bulkier, heavier overall. Peg Perego is going to be lighter weight, smaller, both super agile. Peg Perego made in Italy, 5-year warranty. UPPAbaby made in China, 3-year warranty. And you're gonna be paying significantly more when you're ready to make the changes to grow with your family with UPPAbaby versus Peg Perego. So hopefully this video has illustrated that. If you have questions, leave them below. Like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you want to check out the colors or pricing on any of these pieces, head on over to my website, destinationbabykids.com. You can buy either of these guys directly from me, because if you learn it from here, buy it from here. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you in the next video.